How are you, sir? Same.
That's been my theory. So when I get sick, I ain't getting tested. And that's right. No, never tested positive. Sure.
I just figured it'd be kind of odd to have this empty seat on my left. For some reason. It looks like somebody's sitting at the computer. True. Else I couldn't have a direct sight with you. Facial expressions, I know.
Explorers is getting a little bit tough with the masks on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the meeting of December 2020 for your Lawrence County Council. I would like to be noted that we have notified the press properly and complied with all freedom of information. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Ask you to stand for the invocation provided by Councilman Young, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
Let's pray. Oh God, we're grateful for this day that you've given us. Lord, we're grateful that you helped us through this past year. Lord, we ask you will be with us in this year coming up. Give us the wisdom to make decisions that please you. We ask you to keep the people in our county as our top interest to help them, our state. We ask, Lord, that you guide us and that you give us wisdom, and we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. This time, I would like to invite Lynn Bellamy to join me in the council chamber. As you are aware, Lynn chose not to run for re-election this year, and on behalf of council, I would like to read a certificate of appreciation and community gratitude. On behalf of the County of Lawrence, South Carolina, it is with deep pride that we, the Lawrence County Council, do hereby recognize with extreme honor Lynn L. Bellamy for her 14 years of dedicated service as Lawrence County Clerk of Court 2006-2020. From this day forward, her retirement will stand out forever as a milestone in her life as a job well done. We wish you the best and Godspeed with your future plans. with grateful appreciation on this 8th day of December, signed by County Council. On behalf of county, thank you for your service. This one, both. One.
Not that much.
Oh, it's got your initials on it. Look. This is a clock for her years of service to the county, and again, we would like to say on behalf of the county, thank you so much.
Thank you. I wasn't really expecting this, and I'm not one for fanfare. I like to be in the background, but I do appreciate the recognition, and I've enjoyed my time at Lawrence. Thank y'all.
It is with a distinct honor that I like to read a resolution of commendation for our chair, the Honorable David A. Pitts. Whereas from time to time, the Lawrence County Council recognizes that certain individuals are a vital and important part of maintaining and upholding certain developments and progress within Lawrence County and the state of South Carolina. And whereas Councilman Pitts began his political career with county government in 2011 as a member of Lawrence County Council, and during his tenure was duly elected by his peers to serve as chairman. And whereas Councilman Pitts served Lawrence County as an official of the county, an honor and dedication of 9 years, all of while with exemplary leadership. And whereas Lawrence County Council, duly assembled, desires to express by way of this resolution its gratitude to Councilman David Pitts for his untiring leadership and community spirit as a public servant for Lawrence County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that from this day forward, this day shall stand out forever as a milestone of your life and a job well done. We wish you the best in all that you do and in all your future plans. We are grateful, and we gratefully give this to you on this day, this 8th day of December, for all the work you have done and all the camaraderie you have given to us. I know from time to time we did not agree, but you have always been respectful and a gentleman, and we appreciate that. Duly signed this 8th day of December 2020 by your peers and your other council members.
Not this one, this one.
I'm getting right out of that.
Sorry.
You should have come down before, but I didn't.
This too.
Okay, we have two tokens of appreciation for you this evening, and we would like them to accept on, for you to accept them on our behalf.
Thank you so much.
For your service that you have given us,
Appreciate it.
and the friendship too. And this goes along with it. Thank you much. God bless you.
This is from the citizens. This is a painting of courthouse in 1905.
Oh, my God.
Signed by several of here on council and more on the back from department heads, past and present. So we wanted you to have this, so you can remember your time here on county council. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. I admire your leadership, and people don't know you're a hard-working man in Lawrence County with all you got going on. Thank you so
Well, I
much.
certainly cherish that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. See how quick we can get through this agenda. Next, we have the approval of the agenda. However, there are some amendments that need to be made. The first one is under letter 9F, the approval of the appointments to the library board. Please strike that as they were unable to attend. The second one, I'll recognize Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to have 8G, the third reading of ordinance 887 Vulcan land transfer, stricken from tonight's meeting and move that to the second meeting in January.
Okay, so you heard the recommendation to strike 8G, third reading. Are there any other amendments, additions, or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I assume 8F also will be postponed?
We're wanting to allow those who come tonight to have the public hearing tonight.
Okay.
The public hearing will remain. Are there any others from council? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to approve the agenda with the amendments of stricken 8G and 9F.
There's a motion by Mr. Patterson. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. McDaniel. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0 this evening. And next is the approval of the minutes submitted from the meeting dated November 10th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? So move to approve as submitted. Motion by Mr. McDaniel. Second by Ms. Anderson. Any additions or deletions? Hearing none. All in favor of accepting the minutes as approved, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is a report to council. First, I will recognize Lisa Kirk for fiscal year 2021, month 4. Ms. Kirk. And Ms. Kirk, you would make sure the microphones are on, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
You have received the financial packet and with your packages this week. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions of Ms. Kirk on the financials that submitted?
Yes. Sorry, you go ahead, Ms. Anderson. Sorry.
Ms. Anderson?
Okay. 9 is on page 9 of 9. Did you have one earlier than that?
Mine's on 8, but you go ahead. You're good.
Okay. Now, it's in reference to the UMS capital fund. And that deficiency, the last subtotal on there.
EMS Capital,
Yeah.
there has been capital purchase kind of in advance, and I think that was handled during the budgeting session, correct, Mr. King?
That's correct.
And as we move forward, the 2 mills that we are currently taking in each year for capital will reduce that deficit.
Okay. Ms. Patterson?
Fund 600. Can you give me an actual fund balance on that account? It's showing a large deficiency, but I don't believe it's correct.
We have not yet transferred the funds from the bond at the time these financials were run. We just did that within the last week or so. And I'm wanting to say the amount they transferred was somewhere around 3.8 million maybe. And that's going to be added to that deficit that's there. Because we spent the money out of Fund 600, out of the capital account.
Okay.
But the bond proceeds went into the bond proceeds account held by the treasurer. So she has to transfer those funds out of that bond account into the general fund to cover this capital. And we took care of that last week.
You moved 3.8 million into Fund 600, so we should have a fund balance of 2.8 million in that account.
No.
That's what I didn't, that sound right. So do we have any idea what the actual fund balance is? It's gonna be pertinent to stuff coming up later.
Fund balance of Fund 600, I'm estimating around $500,000 at the end of FY '20. We still have to get the audited results, but that's just off the top of my head, so
And
I may be off on that.
He's a little ahead, I think, the audit, when are we looking at seeing that?
It's probably gonna be close to the deadline of the 31st.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Ms. Kirk. At this time, I recognize our Human Resources Director, Mr. Casey Bolton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would like to make an announcement on behalf of the library. They've interviewed for the upcoming library director vacancy, and they've made their selection, and I'm pleased to announce that the candidate that's selected, you should have it in your a brief bio on your desk. Her name's Renita Barksdale. Ms. Barksdale comes to us from North Carolina currently. She's originally from Greenville, has family here in Lawrence County. She began her career in 2007 in the library system in Greenville County and quickly progressed to branch manager up there, and was in 2012, I believe it is. In 2015, she took a library director position in Elizabethton, Carter County, Tennessee, and was there for approximately 4 years. She's also, during all of this process, she has a bachelor's degree from Clemson in political science, but also has a master's degree from the University of North Texas that she received in the midst of all this progression in her career. And she's currently in Johnston County, Smithfield County, North Carolina, and she's currently working out her notice. She will begin her position here on January the 4th. I will tell you that in meeting Ms. Barksdale, she's very energetic, wonderful personality. Can't say enough great things about her. She has listed some of her hobbies as reading, of course, and that's pretty appropriate for being a librarian. But she also kind of fit the librarian mold. She enjoys kickboxing, roller skating, and watching movies. So she will be here January 4th. She's sends her regrets that she couldn't be here tonight, but I think that she is going to be a wonderful addition to Lawrence County. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. We look forward to meeting Ms. Barksdale and seeing how she can move our county library system forward. This time I recognize our Director of Emergency Management, Joey Avery, for our monthly COVID-19 update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Always my pleasure to stand before you, take care of some business. I passed around a graph like I normally do, and I'm not going to dive too deep into it. Just to touch on the first page, you can see that the numbers are pretty much increasing in Cross Hill, Waterloo, Gray Court, and Ware Shoals. Clinton and Laurens are holding steady. But with that said, the numbers are still going up in this county. And we've got to continue to push wearing a mask, social distance when we can, sanitize your hands, don't touch your face. If you're sick, stay at home. That will help mitigate this virus. I anticipated the uptick, if you will, after the Thanksgiving holiday, and we saw that. We saw some big numbers coming out, 47, 35, 38 every day. So those numbers are going to continue to climb, and I expect those to climb around the Christmas holidays also. With the cases, I've said that we will always have testing. So we have testing set up through 26 January 2021. I just confirmed some of these dates and locations prior to coming to the meeting, so I will email these out to the council so you have these so that you can talk with the constituents and tell them where they are. We tested today at the Exchange Building, Self Regional. We have tested 16 December at Joanna First Baptist Church,
And we also have testing 22 December at the Lawrence Exchange Building. And that will complete the testing for the month of December. And like I say, we are already into January, and we're trying to plan for February and March also. There was some news came out from the CDC and DHEC in regards to an option to quarantine. Typically, the 14-day is the safest quarantine period if someone comes in contact with a COVID positive patient. 7 days and 10 days, but there's some stipulations on there. I won't get deep into the DHEC guidelines that's sent out, but it will take a little effort on our part to maintain contact with the individuals that we quarantine. We do have people quarantined in Lawrence County at this point in time that are county employees. And we hope to get some of those back as soon as we can, but we're not going to deviate from the safety aspect of getting these people back and protecting our employees. With that said, Lawrence County Library is on modified hours. And this is a press release from our director, Ann Sapolsky. Lawrence Library is operating on a reduced schedule the week of December 7th due to COVID-19 case quarantine. The library will be open from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday until December 14th. The Clinton Library is operating with its regular hours of 10 to 6, but closing between 1 and 2 for lunch and cleaning. Patrons are asked to call the Clinton Library at 833-1853 or the Lawrence Library at 681-7323 for more information and more updates. With all that, we are still continuing our weekly spraying of the Hillcrest Square complex. We're also spraying the 911 center, and we're also spraying the library. So we're trying to take all the precautions that we possibly can and protect our employees. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my presentation. I'll be glad to entertain any questions.
Are there any questions, Mr. Agers, from members of council?
I have one. It might be more for Casey or Mr. Kaney, but with CDC changing their guidelines, are we adjusting our policies or procedures in any manner? We're mirroring them. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir, we will. We have.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Next is an update on the Church Street office building regarding Office of Probation, Pardon, and Parole. And I think I'm recognizing Mr. Billy Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of council, I passed out to you right before the meeting started, and I will hit the highlights of that. You can see from the chart what has been completed at Church Street office in preparation of PPP moving to that location. We are still awaiting some funds to come from hopefully Columbia if COVID-19 has not wiped those out. My contact is out of town right now, should be back toward the end of the week, and they're checking on that for us. He was checking on that before he left. But below is some of the highlights of how we are, where we're at now. If you all will remember, council approved up to $65,000 on the HVAC to be replaced. Of that, we spent $56,430. We had $100,000 to come to us from the state to try and do some minor improvements to that building to get it ready to be moved into. Of that, we spent $47,600, and that left a balance of $52,400. Since all of that has taken place, county administration has taken the remaining balance of that $100,000 and put it back toward what money was spent toward the HVAC. So bottom line is there's zero money to be spent on that building to get it to where someone can move into it. And right now, it is not occupiable. There's still some electrical issues that need to be addressed, some plumbing issues need to be addressed, and a couple of windows that need to be replaced. It's due to cracking. And we have 2 security doors that PPP had asked to be put in whenever they are ready to move in. So having said all of that, if there is any questions, I'll try and answer.
Are there any questions of Mr. Wilson?
Comment, Mr. Chairman. I just asked that once we find out from Columbia if we're gonna actually be able to get that money or not, because if it's not coming, we're gonna have to do something. I would ask that we maybe reprioritize that list of $238,000 of the actual needs versus maybe some wants.
That was a plan of mine. We should know hopefully by the 31st and get back on the agenda by the first meeting of January so we can move this project forward.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, Wilson. Next, I recognize our county attorney for an update on the capital project sales tax.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Of course, everybody knows the good news that the referendum passed by a wide margin. And we appreciate all the voters in Lawrence County having confidence in the projects. You've got a little outline in front of you as to kind of the logistics of this. Since we sent this out, we had a conference call yesterday with the financial advisors to kind of give you a better view of kind of where we are. A lot of people thought once the fact is the Wednesday after the election, I got a lot of calls, wanting to know where the checks were. It doesn't quite work that easy. We have worked with our financial advisors and our bond attorneys, and we have kind of tentatively got a schedule that probably by March, if not 1st of April, we will initiate the first bonding of the projects. All 16 projects that were on the referendum will be funded. Right now, looking at the projected revenues without any inflation factor, just really bare minimum numbers, we have a 38% cushion on the positive side as to revenues versus expenditures. Mr. Kimmy did a great job laying out all the projects and prioritizing those as to when those expenditures would take place. We expect that the first bond issue would be about $25 million, which will take care of a great number of the projects. The second issue, bond issue, would be sometime probably late 21. And that would be for the remaining $10 million, which would complete the funding for all the projects. That doesn't mean all the projects are going to be finished next year. That just means that the money will be available more than likely April. That would be my guess at this point in time. And we'll update council as we kind of hone this in. It will save us a tremendous amount of money to be able to bond only twice rather than the projected 3 times. Interest rates are very favorable right now. I won't even throw a number out there because it might be wrong, but it's really, really good right now. So that's what it looks like. Once the bonding is done, each one of the projects will have an MOU that'll say you were allocated X number of dollars to the referendum. That money will be held by the treasurer. They will have to submit their invoices, pretty much kind of like we did with the Hillcrest system. And then those will be paid through the treasurer's office out of the bond funds as we go. Once they exhaust the amount that was approved in the referendum, they're done. Okay? They don't get any extra. And I think the way that Mr. Kimmy's got this laid out, it'll move very smoothly. It's going to be nose to the grind for a couple of years, but I think it's going to kick off well, and I think you'll be able to see the result of a lot of these projects coming out of the ground very, very quickly. But I'll be happy to answer any questions, but it's a good thing.
Are there any questions, Mr. Crookshank, by members of council?
Yes, sir.
Are retailers being notified of the increase?
But Department of Revenue, that's why there's such a lag in putting this in. It doesn't go really on the book, so to speak, till May 1st. And the reason being is so that the retailers and Department of Revenue can get all the information out so they can update their cash registers and things of that nature as to what applies and what does not apply.
Okay.
But we've had great conversations with the Department of Revenue. They were very excited, and once we saw the numbers yesterday that we got a 38% margin. That, I credit council for being conservative in your numbers going forward. Instead of going toward the 50 million, we went to the 35. It looks like that puts us on a path for a successful first go at this.
Thank you.
I'll stay here for the next one.
Are there any others? I didn't think we had any more.
No.
No.
Agenda, Mr. Chairman.
I apologize. We're moving into old business.
Yes, sir.
This, again, under 8A, I recognize Mr. Cruikshank.
Thank you. This is a resolution to acknowledge the capital project sales tax vote. It is required by statute. If you will notice attached to the resolution, you will see the certification by the voter registration office as to the total results. This is just a formality for council to acknowledge the vote, and this would get everything implemented that we've been talking about. We would certainly encourage favorable approval of 2020-44C.
You've heard the recommendation from the county attorney. Is there a motion to approve resolution 2020-44C?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of resolution 2020-44C.
You heard the, got a motion by Ms. Anderson? Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Again, Mr. Cruikshank.
Yes, sir.
8B, request for resolution 2020-45C.
You would think I might have done this the entire agenda myself. We have the blue law suspension is effective through December 31st of this year. I felt it appropriate, since we were not going to have a second meeting in December, to go ahead and get this done for after 12/31/20, which will cover New Year's stuff in first of the year, and will get us through 12/31/21. We would move for favorable approval of 2020-45C.
You've heard the recommendation. Again, is there a motion to approve resolution 2020-45C?
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of resolution to temporarily suspend the blue law.
Motion by Ms. Anderson. Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0.
Thank you, Mr.
Next is a request, a budget request and bid award. This time I recognize Mr. Satterfield.
Thank you, Mr.
Northern
Chairman.
Emergency Services Station.
This request basically is in two parts. We can take them all together as one or separately, whatever you'd like to do. But the first is, as requested, we designed the completion of the Northern Emergency Services Station. We put that out to bid. There were 9 contractors who received the plans and specs. We received 5 bids. The low bid was submitted by Satchel Construction out of Charleston, South Carolina, for a total of $568.91 for that contract for Satchel Construction. Our consultants have investigated and followed up with other work they've done, and it appears that they do good work. No one had any negative things to say about this company, so we would recommend awarding that contract to Satchel Construction.
All right, we're gonna take these one at a time, Mr. Satterfield. You've heard the recommendation to award through a bid process for the construction at the Northern Emergency Services Station to Satchel Construction LLC in the amount of $568,981. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patrick. Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Now open for discussion. Any? Hearing none.
This is the fire station, police station up there, transmission plant, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
When, will this finish it?
This tonight will finish this station. This will complete the unfinished end that's closest to ZF, as well as add a 3rd bay, which was in the original design.
So this is gonna finish it. We get fire trucks, ambulances, and police, everybody can.
That is correct.
When did they say they would finish?
They have, until June 30th in this contract to finish this station.
Any other questions? Hearing none, there's been a motion that's properly second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is the furniture
Oh,
request.
well, secondly, the total funding for this project is at $607,000. That was $485,000 from the LCDC and $122,000 that you appropriated. With the low bid and the engineering design, as well as the additional cost to heat the third bay, the water tap for the sprinkler system, we are, for the building itself, we are asking for $64,741 to complete that building and construction. The furniture and appliances are an additional $19,000. So we would ask for a total of $83,741 to completely finish this building.
So your request is for $84,000.
Correct.
You've heard the recommendation from Mr. Satterfield. Is there a motion to authorize expenditure of $84,000 as he described earlier? I can't repeat it.
Motion to approve.
There's a motion by Mr. Carroll. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Yance, I believe. Now I'll open for discussion or questions.
Are you sure this will complete this building?
I am sure this will complete. If not, we will enjoy it and move on, but it will finish.
Good answer, Bill.
Yeah, some of the things we've worked very diligently. Our team has worked diligently to reduce these costs. Some of the things that we've done to reduce cost, and we allowed an open cut of Lawrence Road to put in the water tap for the fire system. It was originally designed for a 6-inch water line. With the flows in that area, with the water pressure and gallons per minute, I was able to reduce that down to a 4-inch water tap, which saved about $37,000. And then we were able to move the fire vault, which would have been outside, to inside the fire bay. That saved another about $30,000. We saved everything we could save.
My question is, when I was doing my subtracting, I didn't realize you had added something in here for the heating unit or whatever you had added. But where do we get this fund from, the monies from? What fund is it coming out of?
The current funding is coming from the FELO Special Projects Fund. So this additional funding could either come from the FELO Special Projects Fund or the capital fund, the 600 capital fund. Either one of those two funds would be appropriate.
And are we going to decide this evening which fund we're going to take
Yeah,
out?
I'd recommend, and if I can make an amendment reluctantly, I believe we should take this from Fund 600, given that that is a greater fund balance currently than Fund, I can't remember the number, 156.
156.
Given that that fund balance is greater and is a leftover from FY20, I believe that Fund 600 would be the most appropriate fund to use that money from.
All right, now what's the balance in our 600 funds? I know it's high.
It's several hundred thousands of dollars. We don't have the audit yet, but we have carryover from FY19. And then I believe we'll have additional carryover from FY20. So there's several hundreds of thousands of dollars. I just mentioned $500,000 as a potential number. I don't remember the exact number.
But I just want to be conscious we still using funds out of there.
Correct.
And I'm going down, okay, so 600 fund, and you're amending your motion.
Yeah, I'm in Mr. Carroll's motion to add.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Mr. Carroll's motion, but I'm making an amendment that we specify Fund 600 for his motion.
Who seconded it? You second? Kim. Kim? And you, both of you are in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the motion is with the specified funding of Fund 600, is that correct?
Correct.
Not to exceed 84,000.
Not to exceed 84,000. Are there any other questions?
If for some reason this construction company does not come in at or under budget, do we have any mechanism to have them, do we have to pay for that or?
They're contracted, for their contract, they have to do the work for which they have agreed to contract the price. If they don't do that, then they have performance bonds that we can go against to finish the project.
That we will be liable for paying?
No, they're liable for anything they don't finish. That's in their contract. And the reason, let me say additionally, under additional cost, the reason I pulled those items out is because we can handle that in-house. And that eliminates that administrative and markup by the contractor, further saving us some money, so.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you, Dale, for your work on that. That's a difficult project to finish. Next is a public hearing for ordinance number 886, repealing ordinance number 705. At this time, I will open the floor for the public hearing. Speak for or against. Anyone like to speak? Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing and entertain a motion for third and final reading, ordinance number 886.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that council approve ordinance 886 for third and final reading.
Motion by Mr. Patrick.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Any comment, Mr. Cruikshank?
No, so this is just cleaning up the RV ordinance, get rid of the old.
Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is a public hearing for ordinance number 887, Vulcan Land Transfer. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Speak for or against, please step forward, state your name and address for the record. This time, I will open the public hearing.
Ladies and gentlemen of the council, my name is David King. I live in the Hawthorne subdivision, 109 Muskogee Lane, in Gray Court. We appreciate the opportunity to speak to this issue again. We were here a month ago on the 10th to address it and at that hearing. And we appreciate what you've done tonight, by at least looking at this issue and putting it off. And it lets us know that at least you're trying to find maybe a better solution. As I said before, we've got some major issues there with traffic, with the speeding vehicles that go up and down Webb Road, which is the road that leads to the collection facility. My wife and I were walking today, and about 25 cars passed in a couple of hours. We were walking, and at least 5 of those vehicles were going, in my estimation, at least 55 miles an hour. And the trash situation has not helped at all. It's still piling up along the road once you pass our subdivision on down to the collection facility. And of course, the pavement, due to the trucks that pick up the big heavy containers, are causing the road to deteriorate more and more and more, and the potholes are not getting any better. Matter of fact, just getting worse. And with cold weather coming on, it's just going to be tremendous. I'd say by next spring, some of the potholes are as big as a wash tub and probably 4 to 6 inches deep, where these trucks have the wheels fall off the sides of the pavement, and it's just chunking up. We've got 7 people here tonight. I don't think all of them will speak, but 2 or 3 of them will speak, a couple of them at least, and talk about the traffic congestion around the school. But again, I'd like for you to just take this into consideration, give it some serious thought, because this is a perfect opportunity to take what we consider to be a nice neighborhood. The folks there take pride in their homes, and I don't think this is just going to do anything down the road but deteriorate our property values as much as you try as hard as we do. We submitted the petition. Everybody in the neighborhood signed that petition. We submitted it last meeting. And that's also with some pictures and try to make our case. So again, I thank you for this opportunity. And hopefully we have some other people to speak to this year. Thank you very much for your consideration. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. King.
My name is Ramsey Zaleo. I live at 101 Muskogee Lane there in Gray Court. So I agree with my neighbor there that the traffic around that area is pretty bad. I have 2 small children. I live right by the side of the road there, so there's several times that I worry about them, playing around that area. Speeding is an issue. So it's definitely a concern there, as well as picking up trash on the side of the road there. It doesn't look appealing. One of the reasons why I didn't move to Greenville County and I chose Gray Court was because I saw potential in that town, and I think it will deter, right, and bring down my property value down the road. So I definitely agree that that collection site should be moved elsewhere, maybe not in town, but towards the Vulcan material quarry there in that area. But one of the other concerns there that I was thinking about was if Vulcan is going to be drilling in that area where the collection site is, that's closer to the homes, to our neighborhoods there. So I just want to make sure that the appropriate safety measures for the public and the homes around that area won't be affected by the blast radiuses there. Because I'm not gonna lie, I lived there for about 2 years. The first time I felt a blast, I texted one of the neighbors and I was wondering if there was an earthquake here at Gray Court. But that's when I was made aware that they do blast from time to time. So that right there worries me that they're going to be drilling or blasting closer to the neighborhoods around that area. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would just mention that any blasting that goes is regulated by state agencies. They must get permits and all.
Okay. Is anyone else going to speak? At this time, I will close the public hearing. And we will move to item 8H, second reading, ordinance number 888, repeal replacing ordinance 177 and 571. Before I ask for a motion, I'd like to recognize our county attorney on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a follow-up of trying to get the boards and commissions to which this council has appointment authority to kind of get some teeth into the regulations of who can serve, how they can serve, how the boards operate, trying to get better training to the board members and fulfilling these. It kind of consolidates everything that's kind of been strung out in different ordinances over a period of years. I think it'll make things a lot simpler going forward for the clerk and council in dealing with this, and we would certainly urge approval of second reading of ordinance 888.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve ordinance number 888?
So moved to approve 888.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel,
Second.
second by Mr. Patterson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Andrew. Next is EMS receiving facilities policy. This time I recognize our EMS director, Matt Henry.
Good evening, council. What you have in your packet is the actual policy regarding out-of-county transports the action was taken on by council in June of 2019. The area that we need to look at is on the second page in 4.5 out-of-county transports. As recommended by the committee and then approved ultimately by council, out-of-county transports will be based on If you look at 4.52, in the absence of a true medical emergency, Lawrence County EMS transports will be to the closest appropriate hospital. In doing so, that helps to alleviate the fatigue on not only our crews, but also the outlying hospitals. Greenville Hospital System is very busy. They have multiple agencies coming into that hospital. And a lot of the tertiary facilities such as Lawrence and Hillcrest can handle and have recently improved some of their capabilities to handle some of these types of calls, and they can be transported there appropriately. What we're asking for tonight is the approval of this official EMS policy that was approved by council back in June.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation from Mr. Pennington. Is there a motion to accept this policy and approve it as submitted?
So move to approve the amendment to the EMS receiving facilities policy.
There's a motion by Mr. McDaniel. Is there a second?
Second for discussion.
Second by Mr. Carroll for discussion. All right, now I'll open the floor for discussion.
I'm curious, just what are we approving?
This is the actual policy that council approved in June of 19. That was a recommendation from the committee to not take everybody out of county. Basically, prior to June of 2019, if you were right here and you had a stomach ache and you wanted to go to Greenville, we had to take you, no matter what. This policy says that if Lawrence can appropriately treat you, that is the closest appropriate facility, so that's where we will take you. Now, if a patient or family is adamant about going to an out-of-county facility, the crew will then consult the on-duty supervisor, and they will make that decision based on the presentation of the patient and the system status.
And what if there's disagreement among the patient's family or the patient and the on-site supervisor?
Ultimately, if they are adamant and they need to be in a hospital, we will take them to the hospital of their choosing.
Well, your problem for me was, something that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
And, I would like to get you, this is your ballpark, you know what's going on, and see what we can do to avoid something like that later on. You're familiar with what I'm talking about?
I am, and I have talked,
And,
I talked with the wife, and we squared everything away with her on that, but I'd be glad to meet with you and discuss it further.
Yeah, let's do that. And, you know, I mean, this is good. I know that if you got skin knee, you can't go drinking. And, but this one happened a couple of weeks ago. Ace and some other extras too, so, it's all right, I'll call you one day next week. And
that's fine.
Let's figure out.
Mr. Chairman, and this may be for Mr. Cruikshanks, my question would be why we're voting to approve a policy that's been in place for 18 months. If we've been acting on it, have we been acting on this policy out of jurisdiction? And why are we approving it now, 18 months after we approved it?
This is a part of our overall policy that we've been trying to get before council to review. Changing of the HR director kind of slowed that down. He's been bogged down, so the process that I have to follow is Mr. Kamey had to approve it, Mr. Cruikshanks has to approve the whole policy. Then there has to be revisions, and then when Mr. Bolton came on, I had to get him to review it, to get his blessings to bring it to y'all. So that's why this hasn't been brought to you before now.
I'm a little confused. You said this was a policy that was approved by council
This was
last
a
year?
recommendation from the committee in June of 2019.
Voted on by council?
Yes, sir.
Then I don't see why we're approving it again. We've already approved it.
I was asked to put it into a policy, and as a part of my policy from Mr. Kamey, I have to have all policies approved by council.
Seems redundant to me, but that's fine. That's what the administration wants.
Okay.
Council did approve this, the concept of this, but actually getting this into some form of a regulatory basis for us to work from is what we wanted to bring back to county council. Should it have been brought back in a more timely fashion? Yes, that's a lesson learned. We should have brought it back in a more timely fashion. But when we bring things to county council and county council approves those, it's then the administration's and our staff's goal to bring those in a written fashion back to you, explaining clearly what we intend to do, just in case we misinterpret what actions of county council. Ideally, we would have brought the policy before you. Y'all would have blessed the policy and we would have done the policy at one time. I think what we did in this particular situation is we blessed the concept of not having to go out. We didn't have an actual policy before you. So ideally, what we would do is bring you this policy and then we would approve that policy, not take a vote on more of an idea of a policy. So I think in this particular situation, county council didn't have a policy before you. You actually had kind of the framework of that policy, which was we are no longer going to mandatory have to move any patient to any hospital of their choice, but it was never formally adopted in terms of a policy. So in the future, what we will attempt to do is bring you that policy, and then council will vote on this one time. So I apologize for the inconvenience and the confusion on this one.
Okay. Are there any other questions from any council members or comments?
I feel like this is being brought up because a couple of instances happened that have caused concern of our policy. Are we looking at changing it anytime in the near future?
Not from my perspective, we're not.
I think what's written captures the intent of what we discussed back June of 2019. So if all you want is an endorsement so that you can enforce it, saying that that is what we intended, then I'm good with that.
I know we have a lot of discussion regarding this. And, and I still think people got a lot on their mind in reference to it. But the main thing here was, I think, he was trying to alleviate so many calls outside of the county because of the low number of employees that we had. We were stretching it a lot. So I'm thinking now that we are in a coronavirus situation season, and it seems like y'all are really getting stretched again. And so I can understand you bringing it back, because I'm thinking we might not have really come to a conclusion. Sometimes we do a lot of talking, but not come to that conclusion, so we can make sure we got it on paper. And so I'm happy with this. Is this gonna make it just a little bit better for the employees as well as the number of employees having the vacancy that you have? It's gonna help you to make the run a lot smoother.
Yeah, it will help reduce the amount of time that resource is not available for the people in that area. For every time that, we'll just use the Gray Court Fountain Inn area, every time that we have to transport somebody from that area to Greenville, that resource is unavailable for 45 minutes or more, which means another truck has to come either from Lawrence City, and if the Lawrence City truck isn't available, then it's got to come from Clinton, and we've even had the Cross Hill truck go from Cross Hill all the way to Gray Court. That's about an hour's driving time. So it's going to help all around, not just with our crews, but with our response times as well.
Any other? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of accepting the policy, signify by raising your right hand. And those opposed, the like sign. Any abstentions?
Mr. Chairman, I will abstain due to the fact I was not on council when that decision was originally made.
All right, the motion passes 5-0-1 with Councilman Patterson abstaining. Thank you, Matt. Next is, we're moving into new business. Matt Hancock is a request for approval of the EMS trauma grant.
Yes, sir. What you have next in your packet is every year DHEC awards certain agencies trauma funds. Obviously, this is free money, but it's not one that we really are happy to receive. This basically means that we are very high in our trauma calls. So in order to try to alleviate or offset some of that with education and our equipment, they offer grants to these agencies, and we received this grant this year. We did receive it, I believe, 2 years ago. The grant is for $11,344.40 with a 5% match of $567.22.
Is there a motion to authorize matching fund of 5%, $567.22 to be paid for by the EMS fund balance?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll.
Second.
Second, I believe I heard several. Mr. Patterson is one I heard. Any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thanks, Matt. Next is a request from the Sheriff's Department. This time I'll recognize, who am I recognizing?
Nikki.
Chris Martin. Chris Martin.
Yes.
And Billy. And Billy Wilkins.
Good evening, Sheriff Cesar Dragets. He was at a Christmas party for the American Legion, so he couldn't be here, so you get me. Unfortunately, over the last several months, we've had a few vehicles go down due to accidents. We've been fortunate in the last couple to replace those with some decent used patrol vehicles that we found online in other states and bought them and had them brought here. Unfortunately, that is getting harder to do. We're not able to find a replacement with the money that we were given by insurance company this time on this particular vehicle due to the fact that it had roughly 120,000.
Right, it had, right at 115,000 miles on it, and we lost that vehicle due to the age, due to the mileage. It totaled out pretty quick. Roughly, we received about $14,500 or so to go toward a used one. We have searched the internet. We have dealers out there searching for us, and we have contacted State Surplus, which they are very hard to find something we're looking for in a patrol type vehicle, whether it be a car or another SUV. What we lost was a SUV, which was the police interceptor, the Ford Explorer SUV. We come tonight asking for $25,000 to be put with the $14,500 that we received from insurance to go out and to secure a new one off a state contract or locally, whichever one we can find the fastest.
And the source of those funds, really?
So
600 fund?
Sure, 600 fund.
Capital.
Capital.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to use some of the remaining money left in the Sheriff's Office vehicle supply account to purchase the equipment for the vehicle.
And if we can find the right vehicle, you know, if we order another one, we were able to salvage just a few parts off of this that was not damaged in the wreck, so.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation, Mr. Martin, Mr. Wilson. Is there a motion to authorize up to the expense of $25,000 be paid for the capital funds for the specific purposes of adding to the insurance proceeds to purchase a new vehicle for the sheriff's office?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carey. Second by Mr. Patterson, I believe. Any discussion? Ms. Anderson?
You know, I don't think you necessarily have to have an SUV.
Right,
So
we were looking for anything.
So I think you can get something for $14,000.
In terms of new or used, ma'am?
Anything that got the amount that you have. Only reason I'm saying this, I know the fund is over there, and I know we have some left from Nike, but we're spending that money just as fast as a bat of an eye. And I don't think it's necessary. This is just a couple of months out since we passed the budget. And I feel like you need to try to find something within your budget or within your department. Because I don't think we have really seen the total of what this coronavirus season is gonna do to us in other department areas too. And I think we can make it without necessarily spending an extra $25,000.
Was that a frontline vehicle, one that was being used every day?
Yeah, it's a uniform patrol vehicle.
Ms. Anderson, I know you can't get a vehicle for the 14. It's just not, it can't be done.
You don't have to get an SUV.
Now,
I mean, you have vehicles.
we look for the cars. We look for the Taurus, and we can't find anything. What we're finding is has as many miles on as what we wrecked. And, you know, paying that much money for something that we just wrecked is, you know, so.
Bill, as far as the funds, if I'm not mistaken, we do the capital expenditures in the budget. we give the sheriff's department X amount of dollars for police cars. We don't necessarily always specify, you have to buy X of these and 9 of those and 7 of these. We just say, here's X amount of dollars. Please use this to the best of your ability. Are those funds completely depleted?
We bought 2 used ones out of it and 4 new ones.
You actually do specify, these are actually your vehicles, so you actually do specify the vehicles that you're purchasing for the sheriff's office.
Yeah, we mix new and used when we buy every year to get the biggest bang. for the
But I
buck.
know we changed up what we actually had originally agreed to purchase. So do we have any extra money left over from that?
No.
This $40,000 to buy one vehicle.
35 is roughly what the cost is.
Yeah.
Okay, how many new vehicles did you get? How many is on order and how many is in-house?
We have 4 on order that we were given.
You got
this
4
last-
cars that you need to be ordering. And so in which one are you planning on replacing?
The one that was wrecked.
With one of the ones that you got on order?
No, ma'am, we haven't gotten those in.
Those aren't due until probably February.
And those are already assigned to replace a certain.
Yeah, we've already earmarked what we were gonna take out to replace those.
But if you got them like you did last year, you got them in May.
And the vehicle she's driving currently is a used, obviously it's a used vehicle. It's a spare vehicle, but it's roughly around 200,000 miles is what she's using right now currently. It's just a spare car.
Any other questions? We've got a motion and a proper second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. And those opposed, the like sign. Motion passes 5-1, Councilwoman Anderson in opposition.
Thank you.
Next is a county airport capital improvement project, approval, I suppose.
The capital improvement plan.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Andy.
I'm here tonight to get county council's blessing. This, capital improvement plan, is updated every year in December. We have to turn it into the FAA so that we can receive, what we call entitlement funds. It's, around $150,000 a year. And those $150,000, for us to remain eligible for that, we have to turn in this capital improvement plan of what our desires are for future projects and how we're going to apply for grants. It's really far out to what we're going to put on there. The thing that was added to this year's was basically hangars, and that is 2026 is when we would like to do that. Will it happen? And that depends on how we do as far as growth and everything else. But we have to have this plan to turn into the FAA.
And you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve the capital improvement plan?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
One clarification for the rest of you, that comes as a recommendation from the Airport Commission.
This does come as a recommendation from the Airport Commission.
All right.
Second.
We've got a motion by Mr. Patterson, a second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you, council.
Thank you for all your hard work at the airport.
Next is the county audit status. This time I recognize our finance director, Lisa Kerr.
As we had previously discussed, the audit deadline is December 31st to be to the state of South Carolina. We are currently on track to meet that deadline. Malden and Jenkins will be here on Friday for their last field visit day. And we will be finishing up all of the schedules that are audit and should be finished by December 31st. And I questioned Malden and Jenkins on, is this unusual, the delay that we've kind of had this year? And he said, no, that we are not the only people in this boat, that due to the SC CARES Act and the COVID-19 federal monies and state monies, they've been waiting on the guidelines to find out how to report that in the audit and exactly what they needed to do. So this is just a a part of the casualty of the COVID-19 that we've endured this year.
Okay, thank you for your update. Are there any questions of Ms. Kirk regarding y'all?
I have a question about the CARES fund. Where do we stand currently on reimbursement on CARES money?
I have submitted a total to either SC Cares or FEMA for $305,010. I have been informed that SC Cares has approved $39,267. And FEMA so far is sitting at about $60,000 that they have agreed to approve. So we roughly got $100,000 out of the $300,000 that I've submitted.
So where were the other 205,000 come from?
Comes from our fund balance if they don't reimburse it. I have asked for, the first reimbursement I sent was for right at $121,000 to SC Cares. That's the one that they came back and said, we'll approve $39,000 of that. I've asked 3 times for them to tell me what they didn't reimburse, what they didn't approve, so that I would know going forward that they're not going to approve it, don't waste your time. And so far, I have gotten no response from the state.
Are any of those expenditures we would have normally made on a non-COVID year, and we're just trying to get some money back?
No,
Are these 100% COVID related?
these are COVID related. These are items that we would not have bought in the quantities we bought. We wouldn't have bought face masks. We wouldn't have bought hand sanitizer. We wouldn't have bought plexiglass shields, signs directing traffic. I mean, there's a lot of things that we purchased tied to COVID that we would not have normally bought.
We're not the only county not getting funds.
No.
So that's why I'm talking about spending. So, because I really don't think people have a grasp of what we really in for. Because nobody really knows. But after you spend money to protect yourself and to protect the employees, and that's what we should do, you're gonna have to have money from other sources to make sure you have to replace the funds that you're using. And I don't.
And when we actually submit this reimbursement, it's not just, here's a spreadsheet of our expenses. We have to submit the bills. We have to tell them what category it falls in as far as a selected amount of COVID categories, such as personal protection equipment or telework, or they've got a whole list of categories. Then you have to break that down even further. You have to tell them exactly what you're using that for. So it's a very detailed reporting that we're giving to them, and how they could ever see that something that isn't COVID related, I can't explain.
But as for the audit, we're waiting on guidance to our auditing firm. Is that what you're saying?
That is a part of it, yes, sir. We just found out about the 39,000, I think, last Thursday or Friday. And we really needed that figure in order to know how to do some of the paperwork that's inside of the audit. The main draw right now is the capital, because we have had massive capital projects, purchase capital. So we're trying to finalize those now, and that's what they're coming to view Friday. And once those are viewed, then there's just a few loose odds and ends, and we should be finished.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the audit status? Hearing none, we'll move into the next item, is the request from the financial office to use $11,741.39 from rebates from the purchasing cards for the specific purpose of software. You want to say anything else about that?
Yes, as you know, in the past, we have encouraged use of the procurement cards with the department heads for their purchasing. It not only saves time, money, it's, good transparency as far as the reporting mechanism and the transactions. Since we started really pushing that program back in 2018, we have collected approximately $27,000 that did not cost anything for us to actually get. In the past, I have came and asked if that money that we get back in a rebate could kind of be held in a reserve for us to update technology, computers, software, to kind of move the county forward electronically. I've worked with Tammy, we have bought laptops, we've bought some desktops for individuals whose desktops were outdated. We have paid for some updated software using those funds. And we would like to move forward with some of the modules of our financial system, specifically some of the HR modules. And this would give us a mechanism for paying for items like that without having to come back before council.
Any further recommendation? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Patterson, second by Ms. Anderson. Any questions or comments by council?
At first, when I was reading your details, I didn't see where you was talking to Tammy, and that's where I wanted to make sure that this technology was something that is gonna be able to be used by you and Treasury Officer, and one that you have the most dealing with, to make sure that know what you're talking about, and it's good.
Yes, Tammy and I work together. I never purchase anything from this account without first discussing it with Tammy, so there's at least a second person who is aware of what we're doing with this money.
Any others? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you, Mr. Kirk.
Thank you.
Next, we will skip 9F and go to 9G. First reading on ordinance 889, transfer of Hayes Station property. I recognize our county attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you recall, right before the COVID outbreak, and I apologize, we have gone blank on the gentleman's name that came and talked with us regarding the Hayes Station Revolutionary War site, which is in Lawrence County. This is was a massacre from Bloody Bill Cunningham in 1781. It is a site that the Historical Society or some group in the past had taken care of. They disbanded. It kind of ended up involuntarily in the hands of Lawrence County to whatever extent. We can't find any records. The group in Charleston, that is the professional group that handles this type of thing, has agreed, the South Carolina Battleground Preservation Trust agreed to take this on, maintain it in perpetuity. So it is an opportunity to preserve a historical site that's a little over 230 some odd years old. That commemorates a very significant battle during the Revolutionary War. We felt at that time, I think council wanted to kind of move in that direction. So we have put together this ordinance which would allow whatever interest the county may have in that property to go to the Preservation Society for perpetual maintenance. We would urge and encourage first reading approval of ordinance 889.
Is there a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 889?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Anderson. Any comments or questions by council?
One question, are we for sure we have ownership of this property?
No, and that's what we have said in here, that whatever ownership we may have, this will at least give some basis to the Historical Society or Preservation Society that whatever interest we may have inherited without paperwork, and we're passing that on to them. It's like a quick claim deed to them. There is no way to get to the property. You go over private property to even get to it. The 1 acre square site. This would just give an organization, a perpetual organization that will take care of keeping the site clear. There is a monument there where the soldiers who were butchered were buried.
I was gonna ask, don't we have a land use, bank? A land bank?
This would be more of a historical preservation issue. That's why we've dealt with with this society so they would go in there and clean the area around the fencing. It's been done several times in the past by the county, but there is no track record as to how it ended up in our maintenance session. We feel like this is the best way to preserve it, kind of like a perpetual cemetery.
Assuming taxes are being paid since it's a nonprofit historical society.
There's no taxes on it. It's tax exempt piece of property.
Do you have the tax ID map number by chance?
I do not. I have the brochure here on the site if you would like me to.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the field.
I mean, I've been there, I know where it is physically.
Yeah.
I do have a hard time giving away something that we don't know whether we own or not.
Well, the main thing is that somebody needs to care for it. And
I would definitely agree with that.
Right.
And I think this is a good.
And this is the best place to care for it, and we're the only ones that apparently have any authority to do anything with it.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second that has been properly seconded. I'll call for the vote on first reading of ordinance number 889. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Those in opposition, like sign. Abstain.
I'm going to abstain due to lack of information, Mr. Chairman.
5-0-1 with Councilman Patterson abstaining. Next, Project Delta in Richmond, again, Benny Crookshanks.
I'm going to ask Jonathan Coleman with the Development Corporation to come up and help me with these next 3 or 4 items here.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I want to say we appreciate your service and leadership on our board at the Development Corporation over the years, and we're going to miss you, and thank you for your support of economic development in the county.
Thank
you. If you want me to, the next 4, I can just kind of go over real quick and you can buzz through them, okay?
We'll do one at a time. Take first.
Okay, Project Delta is an existing industry in the county, looking at an expansion project. They're just committing to the minimum statutory $2.5 million, but will most likely invest a great deal more than that.
You've heard the recommendation. There a motion to approve resolution 2020-48C.
So to approve resolution 2020-48C.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second by Ms. Anderson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is first reading ordinance number 890, Project Delta, title only. If there's anything we need to discuss.
This would just be to move forward with the readings that will be necessary in order to approve the agreements that will be forthcoming at second reading.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve in title, in name only, ordinance number 890, Project Delta?
Mr. Chairman, I move the first reading of ordinance 890 for title only.
Motion by Ms. Anderson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Patterson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next, approval on resolution 2020-47C. Mr. Coleman.
This is ISO Polyfilms in Gray Court, longtime Lawrence County company. They originally were granted a 20-year FELO and have requested a 10-year extension to that FELO.
You heard the recommendation to approve resolution 2020-47C. Is there a motion indicating such?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patterson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0.
Okay, next one is dealing with ISO poly as well. That original Philo was the old Philos where the county actually held title to the property. And technically the company leased it back from the county for a fee, which was their fee. And they're wanting to convert that to this new simple fee that we do now. So basically it's just granting them title back to their property.
You heard the recommendation to approve on first reading for title only, ordinance number 891. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move the first reading approval of ordinance 891 by title only.
Second. Motion by Ms. Anderson, second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next, resolution 2020-43C, Mr. Coleman.
That is another Fakoku, which is in Hunter Industrial Park. Automotive supplier, been here a long time. Just like ISO Poly, they were originally granted a 20-year fee and have requested a 10-year extension.
You heard the recommendation to approve resolution 2020-43C for a 10-year extension. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Carroll. Second. Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is project impact, resolution to approve, request 2020-46C.
This is a new industry, looking outside of Clun. This is just, we'll have more project details. This is just a resolution identifying the project. So if they were to buy property before the end of the year, it'll be able to be counted into their FILO agreement if we do the FILO in 2021.
Okay. There's a request to approve 2020-46C, I believe. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Patrick. Second. Second by Mr. Daniel. Any discussion?
Yes, do we have a dollar figure yet? Okay.
Not yet. It'll be in the first reading of the ordinance that we'll have.
Any others? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0. Next is Project W, request to approve resolution 2020-49C.
This is another existing industry in the county. Been here a while, looking at doing an expansion project within their facility. They're in the Fountain Inn area. And again, this is a resolution identifying the project, and then the first reading will be in January. This is for just to get it done before the end of the year so they can count anything that they spend this year.
Is there a motion to approve inducement resolution 2020-49C?
Mr. Chairman, I move the approval of resolution 2020-49.
Motion by Ms. Anderson. Second. Second by Mr. McDaniel. Any discussion?
Do we have a copy of that resolution? It's not in my packet at least.
Didn't get it in here till today. I'll be glad to give it to you. I have a copy with me.
Okay.
It just got here today, sorry. We were put a placeholder in here because we did not want them to lose the opportunity for the investments that they're spending now. But you'll get to see all that. Fact is, we're gonna get it signed here in just a minute. And I do want, while I got the floor, want to remind everybody, do not leave, do not go past Ms. Moody before, without signing what you need to sign, okay? I appreciate it.
Now, we got a motion to properly second. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 6-0.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next is a request for approval, one-time carryover for vacation due to COVID-19. This is coming as a request from Lawrence County 911 Emergency Management. This time I recognize Joey Avery. And Casey, are you on this?
Come on up, Casey. This is actually a HR request, but I was in a meeting We asked some questions and said it needed council's approval. So I hustled my office and hammered out this request. Basically, we've got about 48 employees that have the potential to lose vacation time that has been accrued above the 240-hour allowable time to accrue. Because of COVID, we've had employees working extra hours. We've had people quarantined. We've had people unable to take time off. So we feel like this would be a good benefit to the employees that have gone. All employees of Lawrence County has gone above and beyond what is normally required because of this pandemic. So we asked, like to have all the department heads and employees that are here stand up. On behalf of your department heads and the employees that work for them, we ask that county council approve a one-time waiver to the employee handbook that says 240 hours is the max and that you would lose any additional time come 1 January. We'd like to see this waiver to allow for the vacation to carry over, even though I made a suggestion to June 30th. We would like to see this carried out to the end of the year because we're coming up in the budget year, so people are not going to be able to take time off. Gives them a chance to utilize that time that they've accrued. Come January 1, 2022, anything over that 240 hours is going to be gone. This is a one-time request for our employees.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve this one-time waiver from the employee handbook?
Mr. Chairman, I move for a one-time carryover of time, but I'd like to extend it to December 30th, 2021.
Got a motion, you mean December 31.
Yeah.
Got a motion by Ms. Anderson to extend it December 31, 2021. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion by council members?
Now, I want y'all to work hard at helping those people get time off about having to move. I got y'all, I'm quite sure. You know, that's work with those employees.
I have a question. I know we have certain departments and like Ms. Kirk, the finance has been working overtime with COVID. EMS for sure, they're already short staffed. When we have people go out with COVID, that's what probably helped accrue or caused to accrue all these extra hours.
Yes, sir.
And we're still in the heat of this and don't see any let up anytime soon. How are we going to ensure that these people are going to be able to take their vacation? Because I feel like some people would have taken some, but weren't allowed to due to shortages of other staff. Are there any, somebody wants a vacation?
What we hope that will happen is that we will get the vaccine and we will start mitigating this virus. And we will start slowing down on the quarantines and the positive cases and allow them to take their time. Can't say that it will happen, but at least we have a plan to go to December 31st, 2021 to try to have those folks allowed the time to take off to be with their families.
I just request if possible. I know, like I said, some departments have more headache. You mentioned budget coming up than others. If we can shuffle some people, especially admin around, to cover for some people, let's make sure these people get their time off they accrued rather than deserve.
Okay. You all may be seated. All right, any others? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Next is a request for approval of funding for building security. This time I recognize Dale Satterfield.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back in May, I believe, of 2019, our Chief Justice ordered that each circuit court would form a team to look at courtroom security and come up and assess our security and come up with recommendations. And he went so far as to appoint chairpersons of each of those teams. And our chairperson is Judge Turner. That led this effort. This project, like many others, got delayed greatly with COVID because the courts, of course, shut down and stopped meeting. But two of the major things that we identified with our security team was, number one, we needed to have better security into our building. So we have gotten a proposal to add door fobs to 10 doors around the Hillcrest complex. This would secure the building from someone coming in from outside, behind the building, or and so, but it would allow the employees to have fobs to get in. Also, and maybe the chairman can address this next item better than I can, but Joey has a system called the Raves 911 system. And that system, as I understand, is used by District 55 and 56, whereas any employee, through the use of their cell phone, can alert EMS, fire, 911, sheriff, to let them know that we need immediate assistance. This system is used, as I said, by the school district. I believe, Joey, you've got a grant for this system.
We pay for this because the 911 system manages this system. We're able to get reimbursement from the state for the system. And it's tied into our 911 CAD system. That's the reason we need the server. We tried to repurpose an old server and it just died. So we've got to have that server to pull all the pieces together.
So that server and installing this system, with someone to come in and help set it up and put all the employee data in it, it's $15,000. So we are requesting $45,000 for courtroom Hillcrest complex security.
You heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to authorize $45,000 expenditure for courtroom security purposes?
Is this a mandate from the judge, or is this a mandate, or is this a request?
This was a mandate from the judge for this security committee to assess our security protocols and what we utilized, and these two recommendations come out of that work.
And the reason we're looking at implementing the Rave 911, because some of the systems that we looked at were 100,000 plus. So we're looking at utilizing this system.
We think this system is a great first step. Does it do everything that the $150,000 system does? No. But I think it will be a great step to serve our needs.
Is this part of that bond we issued for the building?
That's correct.
What was that question, Brown? I'm sorry.
If this was part of that Hillcrest bond we did, because my next question was going to be where the money comes from. So
You said this would be a first step. What will be the next steps in the process?
Well, this system may serve us well. And if it does, then we'll continue with the system. But I think it has serviced the school districts very well. And it has gotten them emergency services when and if they needed them.
I'll make a motion to agree.
Yeah.
There's a motion by Mr. Carroll, second by Mr. Patterson. Any further discussion?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Manning?
Okay, let me get an understanding here. Now, the 10 doors is for the courthouse?
That is for the entire complex. That would secure the treasurer, assessor's offices, all of that end of the complex with doors that you would need a fob to come in with, as well as down toward the courtroom end of the building as well.
So we take a little step further by making sure it's just on the court area, we making sure that the whole building is secure.
That is correct. It will do that.
And then now the 911, is that gonna be installed over here at the courthouse, or is it gonna be installed out at the 911 center?
It'll be at the 911 center tied into the existing equipment that's there, but it will be networked into that system. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it cannot be networked into the system unless you have this server,
That's true. Yes, ma'am.
and the server is going down to the 911 center.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, where you all want to suggest some of the money is coming from? Anybody? I look like me, that's all I'm saying tonight.
The money comes from the bond that we issued.
Okay,
So there's money left over in the bond to take care of this.
Yeah, the money's already approved, is the way I understood it.
It is approved.
okay, it's already approved.
It's already received, actually.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
Any others? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. And it passes 6-0. Thank you. The next part of the agenda is public comment. This time I will open the floor for public comment. Anyone would like to address council, please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing no one, let's go.
I'd just like to say thank you to David, and even though Joe's not here tonight, I had the privilege to serve with both of them, and just like to thank them for the service that they've done to Lawrence County. Job well done.
Thank you. Any others?
Just want to remind council to see this duty before you leave to sign your papers. I'll get with you, Chairman Fitz. I got a stack here for you.
One other thing, David, Chuck Bobo, the building codes guy from Lawrence County, lost a grandchild last night, 6 months old or something, died, just stopped breathing, so need to remember them.
At this time, I'll close the public comment, and now I'll open the floor for council members' comments, and I'll begin with my right, your left, Mr. Carroll.
Well, I can't believe we finally made it to December, but we did. And, over the course of the year, our county employees and leaders performed exceptional work in the face of both tremendous stress and unprecedented demands. And we still will continue. And regardless of what may happen ahead, I want to assure you that we're going to support you and we're going to be there to get you what you need. And I want to thank you personally for everything that you do, your dedication and support to Lawrence County.
Mr. McDaniel.
One, I'd like to first start by thanking you, Dr. Pitts, for serving Lawrence County so well. You've been a great leader over the past few years. I had the opportunity to learn some things from you, and will continue to push forward and do the work of Lawrence County in the manner in which you did it. We had a rough year overall, I think everybody did, but I like to look forward to a prosperous new year. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you in 2021.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson.
I'm a ditto, but the other two gentlemen stated, and I'd also like to make sure I thank you again for being a co-worker in City Society for 9 years. And so I know we're going to miss you. And you have a pleasant personality that is just a good party and keep that personality.
Thank you.
Because it serves you well. And we thank you for your dedication, your time of service, and your commitment to Lawrence County, because you do have that. I also like to thank the staff for all of the work that they've done under this COVID season. I know it has been a trying time for everybody, but it's also been a trying time for the other citizens, and they do depend on you for whatever their needs are. And I like to thank you for being open to them, even though sometimes they ask you some things you cannot do. And because if we could turn this around, we would turn it around. But whatever we have, we seem like we're working with it, and I thank you for being positive in all that you do, and I'll continue just to do what you're doing and do the best that you can do. And I know that's what you are doing, and I thank you for that. And I'm also like to wish each of you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous year, and that we have a lot to look forward to when we return next January. Thank you much, Lisa.
Thank you. Ms. Young?
Yeah, I like, thank you for putting up with me strong again. And second of all, you just got good horse sense. And that's a compliment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Patterson.
I'll start by saying thank you to our staff. A lot of y'all are here this evening. 2020 has been a trying year to say the least, and all of y'all stepped up to the plate where needed. And done a good job for our citizens, ensured continuity of government, and made sure that we were able to take care of those that choose to live here in Lawrence County. I wish you all Merry Christmas, and I hope that 2021 is a better year than 2020. We'll get there. She's in the audience, I'm gonna call her out, but I want to recognize Dr. Nick Thomas, who is the new, still considered the new superintendent for Lawrence District 55, as well as Dr. Pitt's going to test for 56. It's been a trying time for our school systems, and both school districts have gone above and beyond to take care of our students. And Dr. Thomas, you were thrown right into it from day one, and you stepped up and done everything you said you would do for our students. And as a parent of a child of 55, I greatly appreciate that. And lastly, but certainly not least, Dr. Pitts, I just want to thank you for your service to this county. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time serving with you and learning from you. You're one of the best and smartest men in Lawrence County, and how you do the things that you do, I have no idea. But thank you greatly for all you've done for this county and service to this council.
Certainly, thank you. And lastly, if you would indulge me just a few moments, as I did jot down a few things, and I decided I should write it down so that I don't forget someone. And let me begin by saying, if I leave someone out, it is not done intentionally. Certainly, please accept my apologies ahead of time. As I began to reflect on my years of service to Lawrence County Council, I could not help but remember all of the people and the changes that have occurred. I've been a part of the retirement of longtime county administrator and county resident, my friend, Mr. Ernie Seegers, to the hiring of our current administrator, Mr. John Kamey. From Scott Holland, his years of service as our, really our deputy administrator and over roads and bridges, to now Dale Satterfield. I participated in the search process for a new economic development director, and we looked the entire Southeast and came right back home and made the decision to hire Jonathan Coleman. We hired a great EMS director in Matt Pennington. We hired a new human resources director in Casey Bolton. We changed our auditing firms. Thank you to Lisa for that arduous work that you and your staff have done to change that auditing firm. We closed the old Church Street office and built the annex at the Hillcrest Courthouse. We replaced the leaking roof and the old HVAC units in that same building. I watched our former chief magistrate retire, and unfortunately his replacement passed away suddenly, and now a third chief magistrate in DJ Braun. I vividly remember my longtime friend in Carter. I apologize. Nick Nichols and his son passing. And I'm looking forward to our newly elected coroner, Nick Chief, continues to service the people of this county. I've worked and pushed Joey Avery in ways he probably didn't want to go, but like any servant leader, did so willingly and unapologetically, especially during this pandemic. I worked closely with Chuck Bobo, Tammy Hanks, Greg Lindley, Lisa Kirk, Billy Wilson, and Ann Shapolsky at the library. I'd like to thank Andy Howard, who I worked closely with to continue to grow and attract our county through recreation and soon a new airport terminal. I cannot forget the previous members I had the privilege to serve and learn from. Mr. Ted Nash, who passed away after a debilitating illness. But he and his wife Joyce loved and prayed for me and my children. Mr. Ed McDaniel, who constantly reminded me of fairness. I said I wasn't going to get emotional. And what is right and what is wrong, along with other pearls of wisdom. To Keith Collison, I've got to say this. Ed told me this one day, and I told Garrett this. I was sitting right down there where Garrett was sitting, and he looked at me and he said, he's been everywhere but heaven and seen everybody but Jesus. I couldn't help but remember that. Had to do a double take, but that was a pearl there, Garrett. To Keith Thompson, who supported and continues to support the efforts of this county, and our former chairman, Jim Coleman, and his leadership for many, many years on this council, and how he led this county and moved it forward. And now he is our elected county auditor. And for the current members, I've had the privilege to serve. Mr. Wood, who has so often reminded me of the greatest man I know, my dad. Thank him for his support and encouragement, even if we disagreed. And thank you to Ms. Diane Anderson for her passion for standing for what she believes, even if it means standing alone. To the legacy of Ed McDaniel through his son and my friend Garrett, who is wise beyond his years. To Jeff Carroll, who is like E.F. Hutton. When he speaks, I listen. To Kemp Yachts, who is a man of few words, but very thoughtful and very wise. And to Brown Patterson, and I couldn't help but laugh tonight, Brown, because I knew I had written this, who seems to know the answer before he even asks a question. To each of you, I say thank you for your service alongside and with me. And to Sandy Crookshanks, our county attorney, who has watched me grow from a child to the chairman of council, and I hope a bit wiser and more mature than before, thank you for keeping us and me on solid footing in many cases and avoiding litigation that would have cost taxpayers a lot of money. And last but certainly not least, to Betty Walsh, the clerk of council, who keeps us straight and is a walking history of this county, and my friend, thank you. And thank you to our friends in the press who could make our lives difficult but choose to take the high road. I say thank you. To other elected county officials who have worked alongside me, I say thank you as well. To the people of Clinton and Joanna, thank you for the honor and the privilege of serving for you. To the employees of this county, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know that words cannot express how grateful I and we are for your service and dedication to the 70,000 plus residents of Lawrence County. Things that I'm proud of. I'm most proud of the health insurance we save for many of our employees and retirees, for we all know they don't get rich working for the county. And the health insurance and retirement plans are primary reasons many of us continue to work for this county we love. I'm proud that we saved our taxpayers over $1 million plus annually for the last several years by voting to keep the fee in lieu of tax money from going to Greenville County School District and remaining in this county. This certainly helped reduce your tax bill and mine. Thanks to the Capital Sales Tax Commission and for the people of this county who can see the vision, see the potential of our county. And through the penny sales tax, we will forge ahead to a brighter future. I'm also proud of the small business grants we developed and pursued and passed out during this COVID. I'm thankful to each of you who has participated in what was to be the annual Employee Appreciation Day in July, but because of COVID, we could not have it this year. I hope you all will continue that. The thing that makes me the proudest, and it didn't cost a dime to do, is the way that we honor veterans of our county at each council meeting by reading about their service to our great country and having the honor and privilege of asking them to lead us in our pledge of allegiance. Through it all, I, along with your other county council members, have worked to strike the right balance between constituent services and the cost to provide such services. It's a difficult task, but one that is imperative. Government exists by the people and for the people. Taxes, while I don't like to pay them, is necessary if we want to live in a civilized democracy. The definition of democracy is a system of government that the power is vested in the people and through representation of elected members from the county courthouse to the state house to the White House. That has occurred in our country, our state, and our county. I would like to congratulate my predecessor and successor, Mr. David Tribble, and will support my representative in my county council, and likewise, I invite each of you to do so. As I close this meeting, I can only hope and believe the best is yet to come for Lawrence County. Like Teddy Roosevelt said, and I quote, "A soft, easy life is not worth living. If it impairs the fiber of brain and hair and muscle, We must dare to be great. And we must realize that greatness is the fruit of toil and sacrifice and high courage. For us is the life of action, of strenuous performance of duty. Let us live in the harness, striving mightily. Let us rather run the risk of wearing out than resting out. God bless America, and God continue to bless Lawrence County. Thank you.
And for the last time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Chairman, I think you should.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Second by Mr. Patterson, all in favor, signify by raising your right. We're adjourned.
See you, Deborah.